CAD 136, Lab 1. In this video tutorial, we're going to model the computer monitor. And we're going to start off by drawing this in 2D in model space. And then we're going to use extrude to create this geometry as shown here. Alrighty. If you go under Contents, Module 1, we have the information about this drawing. You can download the PDF right here. And we've already started it with this title block. And so I'm just going to continue where I left off. So here's where we left off with the table. And one thing that I needed to do here was to turn off the viewport layering of the dimension line and of the furniture layers so that they're not shown within this viewport. And so what you can do is within that viewport, we can turn off the dimension layer, and then we can turn off the furniture layer. Oops. Looks like I can't do the furniture layer. But I can simply move that and we'll double click out of that. We'll go into model space and I'm going to make a layer called monitor. And I'll choose a color. I'll make it blue. I'm going to make the line weight 0.5 millimeters. Continuous lines. And I'll make that current. You can double click on it or click on the set current. We're here in model space. Remember, layout mode is with these tabs down here at the bottom. You can get back and forth between them by saying M space to get into the viewports, P space to get out of the viewports, or tile mode and changing your tile vote mode variable from 0 to 1 and vice versa. We're going to take a look at our dimensions here. It's 1 foot 7 inches by 1 foot 6 inches. We're going to make sure that we have our menu bar enabled, drafting settings, I'm not really sure if I really want to use the object snap. I'm going to turn it off. I do like to use polar tracking and object snap tracking. We'll start off by drawing a line and we'll track that out, and then we'll type in 1'7". We'll track that up 1 foot 6. Come back. You can swipe these if you don't want to put in the numbers. That's what the object snap tracking will do for you. And I'm going to move this object a little bit. Just for visual. We have a 1-inch border around the top edge from here to here and around here. But on the bottom here, we need to have a 3-inch. So we'll offset 3 inches. And then we'll offset those lines 1 inch. Select the line, select the side. You can go either left or right. And then we can trim these. By selecting the geometry we want to get rid of. Can add our dimensions to that. You can move your dimensions by clicking on the grip. Hit escape to clear those. We'll add our overall height. All right, and that completes the front view. We'll make the side view. I'm going to hit escape to get out of that. I'm going to go back over to the monitor layer. And then I'm going to project over from this endpoint. And I'll draw a line 1 foot 3 inches. We'll go up 3 inches. We'll wait till that tracks with polar. And polar tracking is basically this button right here. And so what that'll do is it'll give us these green tracking lines that allow us to put in direct distance. They don't give us the angle for the back of the monitor, so we'll have to attack it from the other direction. So we'll have to go 3 inches, 1 inch, 1/2 of an inch to create that geometry there. And then I'm going to get the height of it by just projecting over this line right here. We can just throw a line over there like that. And we can also project over this line here. And then our monitor will come in like that. And it actually goes a little farther. We can trim. And then we can offset a 1/2 inch for the inside of the monitor. And what they did was they used their centerline layer. We'd actually want a hidden line layer, so let's use a hidden line layer. So let's go with creating a new layer, call it hidden. We'll make that red, and we'll make the line type. We'll load it. For hidden. Click on it again to set it active. Make that layer current. And then I can draw the lines. And actually what I'll do is I'll offset this a 1/2 inch and just change the layers. Make sure it goes to the inside. Select the proper layer for it. We'll project over the side view of it. I'm just going to delete that and do it again. And then I'll trim. We'll offset this line 6 inches, and then we'll connect the 2 endpoints. I'm not sure, but it looks like there's a little gap here, possibly. There we go. It's my graphics card. All right. We can add our dimensions for that. And buy ourselves a little more real estate if we want to move. And you can use ortho if you want to keep them straight. And there we have our computer monitor. Looks like I've got a little cleanup work here to do. There we go. And then what we're going to do is we're going to extrude this shape a depth of 1 foot 7 inches. When we extrude that shape, what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn off the hidden line layer in the center and the dimension line layers. So I'm going to go back over to the monitor layer. And I think what I'll do in this example, another technique that we can do is we can call it a new layer. We'll call it 3D monitor. And we'll give this a different shade of blue. We'll make that current. Turn off the hidden line layer. Turn off the dimension line layer. Since I'm on the layer, it asked me if I want to turn it off. I'm going to say, go ahead and turn it off, but then make sure that you switch your layer back over to the 3D monitor layer. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a copy of this over to the side of it and create the model from the side view like that. I'm going to grab an isometric view. I'm going to zoom in on that. And then I'm going to press pull this. Now there's two different ways you could do this. First we're going to go take a look at changing over to the 3D modeling toolbar. And if we extrude it, what's going to happen is it's going to extrude it as a surface, because it needs a closed boundary shape. In SolidWorks, it's called a sketch. It looks kind of like a spider web. So you either need to create a region out of it. I'm just going to type in a region. Select the entire object. Or you need to use press pull. When you select a region out of it and extrude it, and we'll say 1 foot 7 inches. Then that object will be a solid object. If we were to move it, and no reason to move it. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to 3D rotate it into position. So we're going to go and get our 3D rotate gizmo. And then we're going to select this axis. And I'm going to select this axis. To rotate that in place. Now, when you rotate them, using ortho mode will keep it from getting misaligned. To create the computer monitor kind of indent part right here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a UCS, 3-point UCS in the front of this. And then I'm going to create a rectangle around the outside of it. And I'm going to offset that 1/2 inch. So here's my 3-point UCS. And I'll start off with 0.1, 2, and 3. And then what I'll do is I'll create a rectangle. And I think I'm going to go and use a different color. I'm going to type in color. And I'm going to make this purple so we can see it. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a rectangle. one corner to the other. Now, if we can't see it, turn it off to conceptual in the 2D wireframe. When we work with AutoCAD 3D, we're always drawing in the XY axis, or the 2D. We're going to offset that 0.5. And then I don't need the outside, so I'm going to delete that. And I'm going to press pull that in 1/2 of an inch. And so if you pull it out this way, it'll be a positive shape. If you push it in, it'll be a negative shape. And I'm going to say 0.5. Verify it with a conceptual. And then we're going to go put this on our layout and do a quick save. I'm going to turn on my layers. I'm going to go and do this in drafting and annotation. I'm going to top view. I'm going to go to my layout. I select this layer and make it current. I'm going to say color. Make sure that it's set for by layer. I'll make a viewport. And I'll just kind of track this out. Double click within the viewport. Take a top view. Find my geometry. Need to make that a little bigger, so I'm just going to click outside of it. Doesn't look like my color matched, but I can always use the match property command to fix that. Match properties is a great command. So you can say match property, select the original, and then the one that you want it to be like that. It'll also copy the viewport properties. They're a little bit far apart. I can move them a little closer together. That's better. Double click in here as well. Double click outside, and then if we want to make an elliptical shape for the other viewport, we can create an ellipse while we're in paper space. And I always just press and pull them. Match the property of the viewport layer. Convert the ellipse into a viewport. by saying Object, double click in that viewport, and then go find your model. And then we can go and take an isometric view of that. And it doesn't matter if it's facing this way or the other way. One inch equals a foot. We can lock that viewport, and then we can disable the viewport layer of the dimension lines, which is this third icon right here. Alrighty. If you don't want to show these other, well, we're just going to leave them at this point. You can put them on a new layer and turn that layer off if you don't want to see those top two viewports. But at this time, I feel that this is finished. So we're going to save this drawing. Make sure our title block is all up to date. And that completes lab number 1 for CAD 136.